I had counted the money 3 times. The result never changed. There was still not enough. I sat at my small kitchen table while the evening sun disappeared behind the trees. The numbers on the paper looked wrong. They had to be wrong. I worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I woke up before sunrise and came home exhausted. Yet somehow, every month ended the same way. No savings, no progress, no car. Just another month gone. My name is Helena. I am 32 years old. I live in a small village where everyone knows everyone else. The roads are dirt, the houses are old, and news travels faster than the wind. For 3 years, I had one simple goal. I wanted to buy a used car. Not a beautiful car, not an expensive car, just something that could take me to work without making me walk for almost an hour every morning. But every time I got close to saving money, something happened. A broken shoe, a repair bill, a higher rent payment, an unexpected expense. The dream always moved farther away, and I was tired of chasing it. The next morning, I arrived at the bakery before dawn. The village was still asleep. Only a few lights glowed through distant windows. Inside, the air smelled like flour and warm bread. I tied my apron and started working. Mix, lift, bake, clean, repeat. The same routine every day. As I worked, I watched customers arrive. Some came on bicycles. Some came on motorbikes. A few drove old cars. I often wondered how they managed it. Most of them earned about the same money I did. Yet somehow they moved forward while I stayed in the same place. That question followed me everywhere. One afternoon, I delivered bread to an elderly woman named Clara. She lived alone near the edge of the village. When I arrived, she was standing outside talking to her neighbor. I was about to leave when I heard something strange.
"I save 1% of everything," Clara said. Her neighbor laughed. 1%? That changes nothing." Clara smiled. "It changed more than you think." I walked away, but her words stayed in my mind. 1%. The number sounded ridiculous. If I could not save larger amounts, how could something so small matter? A few days later, I met Clara again. She noticed me looking thoughtful. "You've been thinking about what I said." I laughed. "A little." She nodded. "Try it for 1 month." 1 month won't buy me a car." "No," she said, "but it may show you something." I thanked her and continued walking. The next morning, I stood inside the bakery before opening time. A small coin sat in my hand. I looked at it for a long moment. Then I found an old glass jar and placed the coin inside. The sound echoed softly. It felt foolish, almost embarrassing, but I left it there. That evening, I nearly took the coin back. What was the point? 1 coin would never change my life. But something stopped me. Maybe pride, maybe curiosity. So I left it alone. The next day, I added another coin, then another, then another. The jar remained almost empty, but after a week, something unexpected happened. I started paying attention. Each time I added a coin, I wondered where the rest of my money had gone. The question followed me throughout the day. One afternoon, I bought a snack from the village shop. As I walked away, I suddenly stopped. Did I really need it? The answer was no. The next day, I bought another small thing and asked myself the same question. Again, I had no answer. For the first time, I noticed how often I spent money without thinking. The discoveries became uncomfortable. At home, I found food that had spoiled before I used it. At work, I noticed flour falling onto the floor because I rushed. I saw trays of bread burn because I was distracted. I watched dough get thrown away. Every waste seemed small, but together they looked much bigger. One evening, I found an old notebook in a drawer. The cover was torn and several pages were missing. Still, I began writing. Every purchase, every expense,
every coin. At first, I hated it. The pages showed mistakes I did not want to see. Some nights I almost stopped. But every time I wanted to quit, I remembered the jar becoming slowly heavier, so I continued. 3 weeks later, I noticed something surprising. I felt calmer. The numbers no longer frightened me. I understood the numbers now. I knew where my money was going. For years, I had felt trapped. Now I felt aware. The feeling was different. One evening, my boss called me into the office. My stomach tightened. Had I done something wrong? He closed the door and said, "I've noticed something." I waited. "You've become more careful." He pointed toward the bakery floor. "There is less waste, fewer mistakes, less damaged bread." I did not know what to say. He smiled slightly. "A careful worker saves money." Then he handed me a paper. My salary was increasing. Not by much, but enough to matter. When I left his office, I felt lighter than I had in months. The raise was not huge, but it felt like proof that the changes were real. I kept saving, I kept writing, I kept paying attention. Weeks became months, and the jar grew heavier. Then another problem appeared. One rainy morning, I arrived at work soaked from head to toe. The road had become thick mud. I slipped twice while walking. One delivery almost fell from my hands. When I finally reached the bakery, my boss shook his head. "You can't keep doing this forever." I knew he was right, but I still had no car. That afternoon, my boss made me an offer. "We need more deliveries," he said. I listened carefully. "You could help after your regular shift. Extra work, extra money, extra hours." I was already tired, but I accepted immediately. The following week, I began delivering bread using an old handcart. The work was difficult. The cart was heavy and the roads were rough. Some days my arms felt like they would fall off. But every delivery brought me closer to my goal. Months passed. Then one evening, something happened that nearly ruined everything. I arrived home and reached for the jar. It was gone. My heart stopped. I searched the kitchen, the bedroom, the shelves, and every drawer. Nothing. The jar had disappeared. For a full hour, panic filled my chest. Had someone stolen it? Had I moved it somewhere and forgotten? I could barely breathe. Then I heard a noise outside. I stepped into the yard. There, under the lemon tree, sat my nephew. Beside him was the jar. Relief rushed through me so quickly that my knees felt weak. He looked frightened. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I was counting the coins." I sat beside him. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he handed the jar back. I hugged it like it contained treasure, because to me it did. Not because of the money, but because of what it represented. The next morning, I counted everything. The number shocked me. I counted again, then again. My hands started shaking. I finally had enough. Not enough to buy the car completely, but enough for the down payment. For weeks, I had been watching an old used car parked behind a repair shop. The owner wanted to sell it. Every time I passed it, I imagined driving it home. Now the possibility felt real. 2 days later, I walked into the repair shop. The owner greeted me with a smile. "You came back." I nodded. He opened the car door. The vehicle was old. The paint was faded and one mirror was cracked. But the engine worked, and that was enough. I placed the money on his desk. He looked surprised. "How long did it take you to save this?" I thought about the jar, the notebook, the deliveries, the mornings before sunrise, and the long walks. "A little every day," I answered. He smiled. "That's usually how it happens." Soon, the car was finally mine. That evening, I sat behind the wheel for the first time. My hands trembled slightly. The engine started. I drove slowly through the village. People waved. Some smiled. Others looked surprised. The road that had once felt endless suddenly seemed shorter. When I reached my house, I parked beside the lemon tree and sat quietly. The car was old. It made strange noises and would probably need repairs soon. But none of that mattered, because something inside me had changed long before I bought it. For years, I believed luck controlled everything. I believed progress belonged to other people. I believed I was stuck. But sitting there in the fading evening light, I understood something important. The car was not the beginning of the story. It was the result of hundreds of small decisions. The real change happened on the morning I dropped a single coin into an empty jar and decided not to take it back. Today, I still work at the bakery. I still wake up before sunrise. I still count my money carefully. Life is not perfect. Unexpected problems still appear. Things still break. Bills still arrive. But every time I see that old car outside my window, I remember how everything started, with one coin, one day, and one decision to keep going.